Hello everyone, I am Duke and welcome to the Feel No Paint podcast, and today we have Taylor with us from CreatureCaster who's going to give us some answers on the Great Hunger. So I won't waste much of his time and I'll go straight into the questions. Taylor, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what CreatureCaster is?
Hey Duke, it's great to be here today. So my name's Taylor Holloway. I am the Business Development Officer for CreatureCaster. What does that mean? Basically, I do anything the CEO doesn't want to do. But I think more importantly, I'm also the author of the Great Hunger, which is a new faction that's going to be released for Trench Crusade, and it's an official faction, so it is completely tournament legal, and will be referenced in the actual lore documents and that sort of thing. For those of you who don't know what CreatureCaster is, we are a boutique miniature manufacturer out of Canada, and we used to produce high quality resin miniatures and focused on that, and being an e-commerce company, having those delivered all over the world. Now we still do produce high quality miniatures, but we've branched out into several different sectors, with the major focus moving into the digital market, the 3D print market. But we've also expanded into tabletop games such as Judgment Eternal Champions, which is our flagship tabletop game. And we have our own role-playing campaign setting as well, called the World of Reclamation. And now we're branching out into Trench Crusade, with the Great Hunger being our flagship faction that we've created for the game, for Factory Fortress. And with Creature Crusade, which is our new digital delivery system, or a new digital subscription service where you get new Trench Crusade models sculpted by CreatureCaster every month.
I do quite like the Creature Crusade stuff, because you've released, is it Malam, the Prince of Famine? Yes. So he's a new Praetor, isn't he? He was an old Grigori Gula sculpt, and he's now been redone a little bit for that.
Yeah. So what happened was the Grigori Gula actually has changed greatly in terms of its visuals. Mm-hmm. The design, just when we tried to make it work with Factory Fortress, but they just weren't too keen on how it looked. They felt that it should be, because Mike Francina has a very distinct art style, right? And it was very CreatureCaster, and it wasn't very Trench Crusade. So that basically we tried to make it work. It didn't work. Ultimately, the design got rejected, and we had the sculpt that everyone seemed to really like. It had people were asking me for it on a daily basis, when it was going to be released, when they could get it. And so I had the idea of turning it into a Praetor and releasing it as part of Creature Crusade, which is this is actually our first month with that. And I think currently we have roughly 3,200 subscribers for that model. Now this month is free, right? I'm expecting the numbers will. I have a feeling the numbers will significantly drop at the end of this month, but but I mean, for $6.99, you get a handful of models, and I mean, how many models are you going to paint in a month anyway, right? I mean, everyone, I'm a big believer when it comes to digital products, quality is going to beat out quantity, right? And I keep on telling myself this as I watch other people just buy these. Just sign up to these tribes that have 100 models in them, right? Because I mean, we're going to produce a smaller amount of models, but each one of those models has the same treatment we would give to any physical release that we did in resin.
I think that's the thing as well, isn't it? CreatureCaster are well known for some quite high quality sculpts, and if you were to put out a product that didn't align with your current market and didn't align with your sort of skills and values of the company, then it's not going to entice new people. It's also not going to entice your current customers to go and buy it either. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, we are well known for the quality of the miniatures. I think we have some of the best sculptors working for us in the world, and we don't contract out. Like, our sculptors are full-time sculptors with us. I stand by the quality of our product, and I want to make sure that everybody who's getting our models. Now, I mean, I understand our models might not be everybody's cup of tea, right? But I don't think anyone can refute that, all of our models are technically, very nice looking and very, are very realistic and represent an entirely different feel on the tabletop that you would get from models from other companies.
Mm-hmm. So, got a couple of questions here from some viewers, and a couple I've thrown in myself as well. So we'll dive into a few of those now, if you like. I'm going to miss off the first question because I think we're going to end up answering that later anyway. So we'll go on to the second one. If you were in Trench Crusade as a person, what faction would you be a part of, and why?
I mean, I would hope to be not part of any faction and not be in that world in general, because it is a living hellscape. I am also not a soldier. I would not be on the front lines of the Levant fighting off the demonic hordes, but I would have to say New Antioch would probably be, the safest option.
Yeah, I think when I asked Scanner Barkley a very similar question, and we sort of came to the conclusion that we would either be a yeoman in New Antioch who'd get killed by a werewolf, or we'd have already been killed by the Black Grail or something, and we'd be wandering around as Grail thralls.
I'm gonna let you in on a secret. The people in this industry typically are not soldiers. They're not cut out. They're not cut out for that kind of shit.
Funny that, isn't it? So, how we talked a little bit about how the Creature Caster and Creature Crusade are bringing some lore to the tabletop, but how did you get into lore writing?
I mean, I've always been a writer. I've been a writer for most of my life. So, I mean, I've written for magazines, short stories. I've published games before. I've also I've worked extensively in the industry with other game companies for about 10 years now. So, I mean, lore has always been a big part of, I've role-playing games. I've written a lot of modules for Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games as well. So, it's always something I've done. With Creature Caster, we just needed it, and I mean, we're a small company, and when you have a small team like ours, everyone kind of has to do their bit, right? Yes, I do the business development for the company, but I am also a pretty prolific writer. With that being said, I mean, Peter and Simon, who are also part of the company, that's the CEO and art director and the production manager. They're also very good writers. They just don't necessarily have the time to put into writing, where it's something I enjoy and I'll do off hours if I have to. So yeah, that's how I kind of got into lore writing. With Creature Caster, my first real thing into lore writing was when I pushed Creature Caster into the role-playing game sphere and realized that it's great that we're going to produce models for role-playing games, but role-playing games also need lore, and someone had to write the adventures and do the lore, and that's where I kind of stepped into doing that for Creature Caster. With Trench Crusade, I kind of had an idea, and I'd been talking to Jamie, who's the business development officer for Factory Fortress, and he wanted to see some of my stuff, and he saw it, and he loved it, and showed it to the team, and they loved it, and they wanted us to go ahead and license it out so we could put this together.
So I gather that's probably, that interaction with Jamie is probably how the collaboration between Trench Crusade and Creature Caster began, isn't it? This
I mean,
almost like a chance encounter kind of thing.
Kinda. So I've been following Trench Crusade for quite a while because I'm a big fan of Francina's art, and I liked what I was seeing. It was I have a lot of people don't know this, but I actually have I went to university for religious studies. Now, religious studies isn't the same at universities. Like, a lot of people seem to think that religious studies is like Bible study, and that's not what it is. I'm not a religious person at all. You study religion from like a philosophy or a literature point of view, right? Anyway, so I'd been following Trench Crusade, and I saw on their Kickstarter that they were looking for companies to partner with to license out the Trench Crusade brand, and I was the first person to respond. I saw it and immediately just looked up. I looked up Jamie on Facebook and just sent him a message, and he responded, and we started talking from there. Turns out he was a pretty cool guy.
So yeah, what made the choice to go into the Black Grail as the first faction you guys worked on? Is there a reason behind that, or were there options for you to do?
I mean, so I was told directly by Jamie that the Black Grail was something they wanted to expand on. as it was probably the it was probably the I don't want to say least inspired because that's not the right word, but it was definitely lacking something, and they wanted to have something a little more something from a different point of view put into the Black Grail, right? And that's kind of where I came in. And the idea that I had for the Great Hunger already kind of was seeded there, and I'd already talked about it with Jamie. So they felt that it would fit really well with the Black Grail, right?
Okay. So,
like the whole idea of the Madagot hag, giving birth, eating her own child, and then starting to pump out thralls, right?
Yeah,
it's sort of the idea that fit the Black Grail very well.
Yeah, I don't think that was going to work with, say, like that. Actually, might weirdly work with the Pilgrims somehow. They'd find some way of making something weird. It is Pilgrims after all. Yeah. So we know so far that the Great Hunger sculpts coming out are obviously all Black Grail. They're all demonic. Does Creaturecaster have any plans for non-demonic sculpts? Will you go into any of the sub factions for any of the other warbands, for example?
With Creature Crusade, we're definitely going to be doing all sorts of stuff. I know that next month we're going to be doing a Goetic warlock type guy. Is a named character named Shalmuzar. And
he's the guy with the like smoke balls in his hands. Yeah, I've seen him
with the giant claws and stuff. Yeah, so I post some of artwork. Yeah, so Shalmuzar is the I don't want to get too much detail because I haven't released the information yet, but he is a mortal who orchestrated the fall of Nineveh. I'm not sure if you know the biblical story behind that, but basically the Babylonians destroyed this massive city that was filled with sin, and he was the one in the lore. He's the mortal that orchestrated that in exchange for his soul and to gain power with the court.
And sorry, go on.
Oh no, that was it. That was
just to clarify for sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you then. Just to clarify for anyone listening, that's part of Creature Crusade, not Creaturecaster's wider campaign. So while it is Trench Crusade compatible, it's not directly the lore you write for that isn't canon in Trench Crusade.
It's not official. No. Creature Crusade is non-official. It is under their open game license that they have. Right. So that basically, if you're under the open game license, you can produce product for Trench Crusade, but there's a lot of stipulations involved. Like, for example, I don't use the term Goetic Warlock, right? Because that is a trademark Trench Crusade term, right? So that's we're hammering it out slowly, and I'm in contact with Factory Fortress very often, just so they know what I'm doing. And I'm sure I'm annoying the hell out of them by asking questions, but they're also a great bunch of people, so I'm sure they're happy I'm at least asking questions. Yep.
We've gone over plans for non-demonic sculpts. Does Creaturecaster's wider campaign have any plans to go into the Great Hunger's scenery, like corrupted plants and buildings, etc., stuff like that?
I saw that. I honestly don't know. That's a great question. So just so you know, part of our contract is once the Great Hunger is done, there's nothing that we we can't touch it again. Right. Okay. We can't expand upon it. That it is technically property of Factory Fortress. Right. So we can't really go into the Great Hunger anymore than we already have, right? So that means we can't expand, we can't do anything. Are you experiencing some difficulties with your camera?
I am. I think I've just frozen. Okay. Right. So
okay, because it says failed to start camera.
Yeah. Right. Okay. There we go.
There you go. Back. Yeah.
Do you want to rerun that question, or are you fine with?
Sure. Yeah. If you want. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
I mean, I'm fine with what I said too. I mean, it's gonna be the same thing. I haven't thought about it. Right.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to touch the creature. We're not by contract. We're not allowed to go back into the Great Hunger. So, do I think that we might have room to do some terrain in the future on Creature Crusade? Potentially, that's something we could I mean, I know that Peter would like to get to more into terrain because we're releasing a lot of terrain for Judgment right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that would, that would definitely fit into it. But it's not something that's like high on our list of priorities of things to do.
No, fair. So,
Yeah.
So far we've seen, and forgive me if I get the list wrong here, but I think I get it right. We've seen Fly Thralls, a Butcher Knight, Corpse Guard, and Great Moors. And the Great Moors, I think, are the thing that most people have seen on the Instagram and on Discord, stuff like that.
Yeah, they have a high quality.
Yeah. Where did the Great Moors fermenting tanks idea come from? So for a little bit of context on that, the Great Moors got blended up people in its fermenting tanks, and it's kind of eating them through a straw in its gas mask. It is absurd as it sounds. So yeah, if you want to give us a little bit of context on the Great Moor, why it's got these fermenting tanks and where that idea came from.
I saw the model and that's where the idea came from. I saw the model and I was asked the question on why he's wearing a gas mask. And my immediate response was he's sucking up ground up people from the mats on his back. Like, it doesn't go that much deeper than that, man. I mean, I saw the model. I have one right in front of me here.
Right.
And I saw the tanks and I saw the tubing and I was just like, yeah, that's what he's doing. He's just chewing up, he's just sucking up people. He has to keep. I mean, there was a whole idea where he needed to continually eat. Otherwise, so part of the lore with the Great Hunger is unlike, like let's use an example like what's that virus in? Is it called the T virus in Resident Evil? Right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but the longer you have the virus, the more powerful you get. Right?
Yeah,
that's a pretty common trope. Right, in a lot of like zombie stuff and everything, right? Like the longer you have this, whatever, the more powerful you get. The Great Hunger operates an opposite. The longer you have it, the worse you get because your body starts to degrade and fall apart, right? And you have to keep on eating, and if you don't keep on eating, your body will devolve into some sort of feral, hungry creature that can't be controlled and will eventually get killed because it's just uncontrollable, right? And that's where our hounds. Like our hounds are the least, or what the hounds are in our faction are the most devolved of the Great Hunger, right? They're basically just, hungry animals that, will basically fall apart and keep on eating until they turn into mush.
Yeah, if I was to describe what I know of the Prowlers, they're basically a mouth, like a hunched over human, mouth in the chest, that's all opened out. And they are, they're just sort of feral beasts with a huge maw in their chest, aren't they? Just trying to eat everything.
Yeah, like their entire body just fell apart and turned into a giant mouth, so they could consume whatever they wanted.
So
or consume constantly, yeah.
So we know from the lore of other Black Grail factions that at least once the Black Grail spreads wide enough, and part of the idea I gather behind the Great Hunger is that it's the way for Beelzebub to hold ground after he's conquered, and it's a way for him to keep sort of, because if he lets it all degrade and fall to pieces too quickly, then he can't hold that ground. It's destroyed, then it's no use to anybody, and it's also no use to his mortal followers. So with the Great Hunger so widespread as it is, does it have a hegemon, or do all Grail creatures? So is this the sort of release of a third hegemon then?
I mean, it's yes. I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't know where that's going to go, right? I mean, you have to remember too, I don't have that much information, right? In terms of the lore, I may have a little more information than the average person, but I have seen as much as you guys have, right? So I don't want to get into too much detail on what the plans are for hegemons or what that means. But one thing I think that a lot of Trench Crusade players have to get comfortable with is the idea that you're not going to get answers.
No,
right?
You're not meant to get the answer to everything, are you?
Exactly. I'm going to bring up something I've brought up before, which was if you look at Dawn of the Dead, which is a phenomenal movie, right? And even the original and the remake, right? They specifically don't mention where the zombies came from.
No.
Right? Because in the big scheme of things, it doesn't fucking matter where the zombies came from. They're here and you have to deal with it. Right? And that's the same approach that I take with Trench Crusade, is it doesn't matter why or how, because you're never going to get those answers. Right? These are cosmic mysteries that, are not, that mortals aren't privy to. Right? But what really does matter is what is happening in the moment and how you react to it. Right? And that's really the approach I'm taking with the Great Hunger as well, where there aren't going to be answers, right? If people are, if people want the answers on why this, how does this work, whatever. I mean, I don't have them, because I've been specifically designing this faction with the idea that those, like the whys and hows and the scientific information, all that, it can apply to this sort of endeavor.
I think that's the thing with anything with zombies in it. You kind of have to put yourself, ignore for a second the whole wider universe and go, if there are zombies in this setting and I was in the setting, would I give a shit where it came from if there was a zombie in front of me? You're not going to...
That's it. You don't. You don't.
You're not going to care, are you? You're going to be like, I'm going that way. There's no chance. You're going to be stood there going, I wonder if there's a hegemon. No, you're going to run.
Answers are a luxury that is a luxury, right? And the people of Trench do not have that luxury.
No.
Now, one of the things that I did develop in Creature Crusade is a fictional organization within New Antioch's command structure called the Office of Irregular Hostilities, which is a very British title, I think, for a wing of the government. But what they do is they catalog strange creatures and encounters within the world of Trench Crusade, and write official documents that are heavily redacted that I release every month with the release.
That's quite a nice way. Yeah, I've seen the one from Milan. I think that's quite a nice way of releasing the Creature Crusades sort of wider lore that isn't canon, but it gives you just enough to go, this is quite cool, and it could be canon one day. Maybe, who knows, maybe Thomas turns around and goes, yeah, we'll use that. But also, even if it never becomes canon. Go on, sorry, go on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. But one of the weirdest things for me is, because the release is free this month, right?
Yeah.
I have sold so many of those dossiers on our My Manufacturing store. People are just buying, they're not joining the tribe. They're just buying them up. Just the dossiers. Is the weirdest thing.
It's weird because you get the dossier when you sign up to the tribe.
With the model.
Which is free.
Yeah, with the model. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you, I've seen probably 100 people buy these dossiers. It's wild that they don't want the model. They just want the lore, which is fantastic to see.
But yeah, I mean, it's great. It doesn't make sense, but it's great because it does make sense, but it doesn't make sense the way they're going. Like, if you're just finding out now that you did that, I'm sorry, but it's your own fault.
I'm sorry, but I'm not giving your $2 back.
And no refunds.
But yeah, people have just been buying the dossiers. It's wild to me, just wild. But
that does seem a little bit strange. I mean, people are just so fanatical about the Trench Crusade lore, and I think it's amazing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you should spend any time on the Reddit, and you'll find out how much people are really engaged with the lore. And I love that. And it's also part of why my channel exists, because it's a lore channel. But yeah, there are some some things brought up on there that probably just shouldn't be argued about. It's just a game.
Well, I mean, so that's the nice thing though about Trench Crusade is there aren't a lot of answers, right?
No.
So people can fill up. The headcanon is really strong in that game, which is great. And that really, I think, is important for the, like, if you have all the answers, then you can't develop your own headcanon,
No.
right? Because the answers are already there. Like if you look at 40K, and I know 40K has a lot of stuff that isn't answered, but there's a lot of things in there that are fact, right?
Yeah.
And you can't refute them, right? Same with like Infinity, right? If you look at a setting like Infinity, it's the same thing, right? Where a lot of it's presented as fact and historical fact, and this is what happened, and etc. Right? In Trench Crusade, there aren't a lot of facts. There's just a lot of speculation, right?
Yeah.
And by keeping it intentionally vague, I think is a smart move because people can fill in the gaps themselves, and it gives the writers a chance to see those kind of gaps. And if there's something there that kind of strikes, maybe they will make it canon, right?
Yeah, and I do think it's a really nice way for them to build the lore as well, because there are only about, if I remember correctly, there might be about 6 to 8 people on the team. People get,
I think it's
get the size of
I
the
think it's
team.
grown.
Yeah, but it's not big. It's not a big team by any means. It's definitely, if it's in double digits, it's just in double digits. It's not a load of people. And I think people get that mixed up a little bit sometimes in why they can't have all these answers straight away, because there may be 2 people writing the lore. Well, there's about 3 of them, and 2 of them work 1 day a week. So, and the rest is just Thomas, and he's one man. There's a lot to do, and like you say, there's a lot of inspiration that can come from the headcanon that might end up making its way into lore, but people just need to be patient on that.
Absolutely. People think that I've talked to Jamie about this extensively because Creature Caster is the same issue where there's actually only like 7 of us that work at Creature Caster, right?
Yeah.
There's me, there's Simon, there's Peter, and then there's 4 sculptors, and 3 sculptors and 1 part-time sculptor, and then a part-time concept artist, right? And that's all of Creature Caster. So everything we do, it's being done by 7 people, and there's only, I have to contract out quite a bit. Like we have, like our warehouses, for example, we contract out. I have to contract out my supports and that sort of stuff. And they're technically kind of part of the team, but I kind of pay them to do a job that isn't directly related to Creature Caster. And, things take time. Things take time and cost money. And, I can't give everyone all the answers they want right away. And I can't give them all the models they want right away. You know what I mean?
No. I think the other nice thing that happens with the lore as well, and we'll touch on this for the next question, is that it is so, at the moment, because there are so few answers, it's very fluid and very able to be changed easily the more that team expands. So if they get a writer on that is really experienced in an area, they can kind of go, the tiny lore bit that we spoke about 2 months ago in the release, that's been overwritten now because that was one guy writing in the setting from his point of view. This other guy's come along and gone, I was actually there and here's the story of it. And it kind of allows itself to be retconned a little bit without it being, like, both things can be true, because at the time of writing for that one person, they didn't have the information this other one did. Now you get an area in the middle for the fans where this happened and there are 2 tellings of it. And part of the reason why I bring that up is because when I saw an interview between yourself and Scanner Barkley a couple of months ago, I think it was now, you mentioned that there was this original idea that New Antioch was one of the possible reasons for accidentally creating the Great Hunger. Can you delve a little bit into that and why that might have changed? Why you may have gone in a different direction?
Here's the thing. Nobody knows where the Great Hunger came from, right? All they know is that it came from Beelzebub. New Antioch is desperately trying to cover it up and trying to, control the spread of the Great Hunger. And some people have speculated that New Antioch might have created it.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
That's the answer I got for you.
It may or may not be an accident of the faithful. Fair enough.
There's a lot of options. Beelzebub also is really good at creating new viruses, right? New Antioch is really good at screwing things up. So, maybe it was a perfect storm. Who knows? All it does know is that the first cases were originally discovered in France in the 1800s. Was the first instances of the Great Hunger.
Interesting, because that's just after Avignon gets taken, I think.
I can't elaborate on that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Okay. Right then. So, last questions really, because we've flown through these pretty quickly. I didn't have a massive bank of them, but I didn't think we'd get through them that quick. Is there anything that you want to update us on? Anything upcoming for CreatureCaster? I know you said that you've got the Creature Crusade next month. You're working on a Goetic Warlock type character.
Yeah.
Anything coming up for either the Great Hunger or CreatureCaster that you want to sort of shine some light on?
Yeah, so I mean, just so the Great Hunger, I mean, is definitely still going strong. Right now, it's in the playtesting phase. So I mean, there's a lot that goes into creating something official like this, and a lot of playtesting. And the Great Hunger plays very differently from other factions, right? Including the Black Grail. It's a very different style of play. I've already mentioned on Scanner Barkley's channel that we have our own magic system called the Arcana Putreseer that will be wielded by the Great Hunger, and it uses infection markers, right?
Yeah.
To cast off the spells. That requires a lot of playtesting to make sure it's balanced and that it feels right. But I like the direction of where it's going. So I mean, I know that the hype around the Great Hunger has dropped off a little bit from when it was first announced to now because of the delays. But I can promise we're going to be putting out a superior product by the end. It's going to be a much better product for the delay, and we plan on launching it early in October. So it will be, and I mean, because it's digital, we've had so much time to work on it. Everything will be done and deliverable in a PDF and STL format before Christmas. Right.
Okay.
Which will be great. I'll say before Christmas or just after New Year's, one of the two. But either way, it'll be ready to go fairly quickly. And I've gone on ad nauseum about how crowdfunding works.
Yeah.
I can't. Now, one of the things we can do, and we're looking at this because I don't think we're going to be doing it through GameFound anymore. I've had some extensive conversations with GameFound, and I just don't think it's a good match for what we're trying to do. So if we do it through Frontiers, at least for the digital product, we can actually deliver the digital product immediately.
Right. Okay.
Right. So because everything's uploaded to My Manufactory, it's treated as if a purchase. It's treated as a purchase, right? So when you buy it, then it's immediately available for download. Right.
Right. So you can.
For me to.
Is that so you can access the lore and the rules straight away as soon as you bought in?
As soon as you bought, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works. How they explained it to me. I have to take a look, but I know that their process, because you have a credit card and and it treats it. The way crowdfunding works is you pledge, and then they collect your credit card at the end of the pledge period, right? Yeah. My Manufacturer already has your credit card because you have an account, right?
Yeah.
So I think what happens is they buy it, and then it immediately gets treated as a purchase, and you get delivery right away.
Well, that makes sense because the tribe for CreatureCaster that's this month for Malam, you get the PDF, and I got that PDF straight away. Now I know it's a little bit different, but as soon as you have signed up to that, if it's on their servers, I imagine it just lets you download it straight away. So that would be quite nice to have from day one to have rules and lore in your hands, even if you haven't printed minis.
And I mean, and what I could potentially do too is run the physical minis on like Kickstarter or whatever, like some other platform, right?
Yeah.
Because I know people are really itching. They want the models, the physical models, and we would do that through. So we have a partner in China that produces our resin models, and they produce absolutely amazing models. So that's where we'd get the physicals done, right? But we don't have to do those right away. We could possibly do the digital. That doesn't seem like a good idea. I'm just kind of spitballing. I probably should stop thinking out loud. But either way, we're working out the plan, right, on how to tackle this in terms of crowdfunding. But yeah, I don't think it's not going to be on Game. I know I previously announced it was going to be on GameFound, but we're not going to be taking that route anymore. We'll be definitely on My Manufactory and potentially using another crowdfunding, or like we might even just do the physical pre-orders on our website, right?
Yeah.
We have the capacity to do that. I'm not a huge fan of crowdfunding. I don't think it I don't think it's doing anyone any favors.
Right.
Right. So I'd like to get away from crowdfunding if I could. But I mean, the truth of the matter in this industry is that you need to have a method of getting it out there.
Yeah.
Right. Getting your message out there, and crowdfunding is something people are in the gaming industry are very comfortable with. Right. I.e. spending money they don't have. So
yeah.
I think, I'd like to get away from that. I'd like to have people just make pre-orders on their website and, pre-orders for the product on our website. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, fair enough. And then sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, as for other projects that aren't Creaturecaster related, yes, we have our standard tribe, which is the Creaturecaster tribe on My Mini Factory. That I'm not sure you're familiar with. You're familiar with that tribe, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, currently we're doing, we've been exploring the Creatures of Onslaught, which is one of the factions in our universe.
Yeah.
The Children of Belleroth is the god of war, and our like war and suffering and that sort of thing in our universe. But we're also after we're doing that, we've decided to change pace a little bit, and we're going to start getting into elves, and we're going to do a few months where we're producing some elf models.
For anyone who isn't familiar with the Creaturecaster sort of tribe at the moment, have a look at the Children of Belleroth, because if you play Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, there are some really nice sculpts in that would be alternate sculpts for Court. So that's the beauty of Trench Crusade, is it is miniature agnostic. So go and check out Creaturecaster's Children of Belleroth if you're a Court player, because the reason why I'm familiar with them is because I was looking at them for that myself. I do think there are some quite nice sculpts. There are a couple of Creaturecaster models that I would really want to. I was going to build a warband around one of them. Anyway, going in the weeds a bit there. I'm sure I can.
Was it you that asked me about the you asked me about the using the Children of Belleroth in that piece of art that I made, right?
No, but
was that you?
No, it wasn't. You? That wasn't me. No, but I've been wondering a bit of how Children of Belleroth can be used in Trench Crusade, and they pretty much port fairly easily over to Court.
Someone messaged me on the weekend, and they were asking me about the because in the piece of art that I included with Malam, I used a bunch of Children of Belleroth in the background as yoke fiends.
I did wonder what they were. I did wonder.
Yeah. So those are Children of Belleroth, and I just said, and I was just like, and I'm like, yeah, it's a miniature agnostic game, dude. Like, use whatever models you want. And it was, I think, a bit of a revelation for him that he could, use whatever models he wanted. He didn't have to use anything. Like, I'm like, yeah, I mean, they make pretty good yoke fiends. I mean, they're pretty mean looking. They're not as weird as the yoke fiends are.
No,
the yoke fiends are, but I mean, they're pretty cool. I like them, especially I find the male ones have There's a few of the male ones that really stuck out to me as models I really like just the poses and stuff. But yeah, so, and I mean, this month we're actually putting out. I think I shared with the artwork in their Discord, but it's the riders. So they're on like big, like 6-legged, like rhino demon looking monsters.
I haven't seen those yet.
Oh no, and there's children riding on them.
Right. Okay.
So, they're like big. I think I can. Am I allowed to? Can I share a screen here?
Maybe.
I don't know if I can or not. Maybe. I don't know how to do that. Share screen.
Yeah, I can't.
Share your screen. That's okay. You can. I'll send it to you. You can share it in. You can share it in the video if you want.
Yeah, no worries.
Later on, but yeah,
I will put it somewhere around here. People watching.
We're going to be doing some. So we're going to have Children of Belleroth riding these big creatures. They're called the Riders of Belleroth, and they're I guess they'd be pretty good for like juggernauts of Khorne. Probably a good thing. I'm not sure if they'd work for anything in Trench Crusade. That might be a little too big, but you could probably use one as a locust, right?
I mean, depending on how big they are, maybe you could get away with them as pit locusts. Maybe a yoke fiend, not a yoke fiend. Sorry, a werewolf, depending on the size.
Oh yeah,
of them.
you could use as a werewolf too. Yeah. I mean, we have the hounds that we just released last month, the Hounds of Belleroth.
Yeah.
And they make really good hellhounds.
Yeah.
For
And you can also just rescale stuff if you're 3D printing it.
You can rescale whatever you want.
Yeah, so you could just make a giant rider. Why you would want to, I don't know. Well, you'd want to because they look cool and you can paint it up. But what you would play it as, I've no idea. But you could, in theory, make a massive child of Belleroth on a demon rider. So
you could raise like a praetor if you wanted to.
I'll link all those below. So I'll link the Creaturecaster tribes for the Children of Belleroth, and I'll link the Creature Crusade as well. The last thing to say is just closing thanks. Thank you for coming on today, and thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully we'll run this back later on in the year to get a few more updates on the Black Grail and also the Mamluk Faris sculpt coming out, which you didn't hear about in this video because I've cut it out on purpose. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'll see you all later.